The fifth item is memory. It's a very powerful thing. Please understand. Memory is what I call pain body. Here, with the right knowledge, only with your action, connection with it can create suffering or joy. With the wrong knowledge, only your response can create joy or pain. With imagination, only your supporting to imagination, only that can create joy or pain. With the sleep, your support to the sleep, your part also, if it is done, only then you will have joy or pain. But with memory, you don't need to do anything. They are independent. Suddenly they will come up, they will occupy your whole inner space, put you in suffering. For no reason. You can't say, why did you come? They are uninvited guests. Memory is uninvited guest. Suddenly you come and create so much of joy in your inner space and fill you with ecstasy. You can't ask, how did you come? Why did you come? Who invited you? No. Suddenly some memories will raise. You know you are in joy. You are in ecstasy. Why that memory came? Why so strongly it came? You can neither question nor understand. Suddenly you know the memory of Master is inside you. For last 10 minutes you are in ecstasy. You are in joy. Just soaked in his memory. Being in his presence. You can't say, why did this memory came? You can't ask your mind how this memory came. Same way, suddenly, memories which you don't want to cherish, some suffering will raise. You can't even ask, why did it come? And your whole day is gone. Your whole day is gone. Just one wrong memory, one wrong awakening. Your whole day will be in depression, low mood. Memory is such a powerful thing. It can come up by itself and put you in joy or suffering, put you in anguish or peace, put you in bliss or suffering. It can lead you to anything on its own, by its own right. It doesn't need cooperation from your side. Right knowledge, wrong knowledge, imagination and sleep needs cooperation from your body and mind. All the other four things, your body and mind needs to cooperate. But with imagination, with memory, you don't need to cooperate at all. It will just erupt and you don't know why it is there. You can't ask why it is there. You can't even question why did you come. But you are in suffering or joy. That is the power of memory. Memory means the ideas, thoughts, imaginations, visualizations collected, which is still alive inside your system. One important thing, if your memory is complete, it won't lead you to suffering, it will lead you to joy. But it is not complete. If your memory about your past, if it is complete, you will have knowledge about your future. Please understand. I am not giving you false promise. I am stating simple, straight truth. If your memory about past is clean and pure, complete, you will have a clear idea about your future. Because your future is nothing but the reproduction of the past in different dimension, that's all. Maybe some of the quantity will be different, but basic structure will be the reproduction of your past. The earlier you might have had one car in the past, the future you may have few cars, but the future is going to be the reproduction of the past. But the big problem is we don't even have the right idea about our past. We remember our past only after editing. If you think your whole life is suffering, as we usually think, you will edit and connect only all the suffering incidents. And you will think your whole life past was suffering. That one idea is enough to feel, to imagine, to visualize, to think your whole life was suffering. The memory, it is not a right memory, it's a wrong memory. Same way, if you think your whole life is joy, again you will edit, cut, fix, paste and see your whole life as joy. You will connect all the joyful incidents, memory, and start seeing your whole life as joy. We never comprehend, we don't have the complete memory. We don't look at the past as it happened. We don't smell the past as it happened, as it is. If you have a simple, straight idea about the memory, past, a simple, straight, clear idea, you will have simple, straight, clear idea about the future. Your miscomprehension, your wrong idea about the past is responsible for the wrong idea about the future. If you think you are not able to plan your future, be very clear, you don't have a vision about your past. Any incident happened in the past adds some juice to your being, understanding to your being, awareness to your being, knowledge to your being, experience to your being. So if you are aware of all those memories, that knowledge, that essence which is added to your being will continue to guide you in the future. But when you forget those incidents, those memories, when memory loss happens, which is happening in all of us, that juice of that experience, knowledge of that experience, memory of that experience will not express itself in the future. So confusion. Understand, right knowledge, wrong knowledge, imagination, sleep and memory. These are the 5 modifications leads you to suffering or anguish. Suffering or anguish. So realize all these 5 can be either used or abused. Just this knowledge, this understanding that it can be used or abused, it can lead to joy or suffering is enough. That is enough. You will start using them rightly. Whenever all this 5 is leading you to suffering, you are abusing it. You are misusing it. Whenever it is leading you to joy, you are using it properly. So, whenever you are in suffering, understand, one of these 5 is misused by you. So, decide you will use that properly. Whenever you are in joy, understand, these 5, any one or all the 5 are used by you rightly. Let's enter into the next sutra on your way to enlightenment. Swing your way to enlightenment. If you catch the right guru and he also catches you, work is done. Because he will constantly kindle your right imagination. He will constantly make you understand the right truth. Understand? Working on imagination and all, you don't need separate time. There are two kinds of teachings. One, teaching you are a beggar. Beg every day, only then you can become millionaire. Then what you will do? Every day you will do 3 pranayam or 3 hours pranayam. Either 3 pranayam or 3 hours pranayam. It's more or less like begging. But have you ever seen a person begging penny by penny, dollar by dollar, becoming billionaire or millionaire? No. It can never happen, because what he makes every day he has to spend for his survival. So this is one kind of practice, sadhana. If you look at them, you will see that they are very serious. Whole day they will be closing their nose and blowing the nose, doing all kinds of practices, standing upside down, topsy-turvy, doing all kinds of asanas, pranayam, this, that. They can't waste even 10 minutes. They won't waste even 10 minutes. Even when they talk, they will use measured words. When they get some time, they will close their eyes and sit. Even that few minutes they don't want to waste. They will close their eyes and sit. I have seen very foolish ideas being taught to people. I have seen one group teaches their disciples, the more you keep your eyes open, the more energy you will lose. No, really. And those poor guys, whenever they get even 2-3 minutes break, when they don't have anything to do directly, they close their eyes and sit. Morose, long-faced, wrong imagination. Using the imagination to create more and more bondage. But instead, the other side, the right guru, he teaches, you are already enlightened. Nothing else needs to be done. The moment this thought is strongly put inside a person, he starts behaving like that. He starts living like that. He starts experiencing that courage. He starts experiencing the confidence. Even 1 or 2 hurdles which comes, he handles them with that confidence, with that courage, with that brightness, with that knowledge, with that energy, with that enthusiasm, and he lives enlightened. I am not interested in teaching you first wrong concept that you are a beggar. Then second wrong concept, you have to beg, only then you can become millionaire. No. Already you are millionaire. Not only millionaire, billionaire, trillionaire, and what not. All you need is remember it, reclaim it, live. Remembering, reclaiming, living is all you need. So you are complete. That is why with our Sangha, with our group, the more and more you are connected, the more and more you feel connected, and more you come close, less and less sadhana, less and less practices, because I am using your very imagination. Your 24 hours becomes a spiritual practice. You don't need separate practice. Here, Patanjali is expressing beautifully. First, he is talking about right knowledge. Understand what is right knowledge. Pratyaksha, Anumana, Agamaha. It's a beautiful word. Pramanani, Pratyaksha, Anumana, Agamaha, Pramanani. Means perception through senses, conclusions arrived at through that cognition. The words of an enlightened master are the 3 ways to gain correct knowledge. Direct perception, inference, and competent evidence. constitute right knowledge. It's very difficult to translate the Sanskrit words like agama, pramana. That is why I am using a book which has 12 translations. And I have my own translation. See, each master has translated this aphorism from his understanding. So he has compiled 12 translations which can really give the complete or a comprehensive idea about how the sutras are perceived, understood. So I have my own translation. Apart from that, I refer all these 12 translations. So that whichever suits or whichever is more close to the original sutra, I am trying to use that translation. Perception through senses, conclusion arrived at through the cognition, words of an enlightened master are the three ways to gain correct knowledge. Perception through senses, please understand, it means your senses should be pure and fresh, not the perverted senses. If your senses are tired, overworked, overwhelmed, it cannot give you the right perception. If your senses are tired, the moment somebody enters the room, you will feel he is going to fight with you. If you are tired, you will always be expecting enemies. If you are alive, fresh, even your enemies will look like challenges for you. They won't look like enemies. You will feel, it's life, let's live. If you are tired, if you are feeling dull, even your friend will look like enemy. When he enters, oh God, I have to talk to him. I have to entertain him. He will not leave me. He will be inquiring, how am I? What am I doing? Oh, no, no, no. If somebody takes him away, it will be very nice. If you are tired, even your friend will look like an enemy. Will say, oh God, how to get rid of him. With a fresh, alive, pure senses, whatever is grasped, that itself can be proof. The three things to measure whether something is truth, right knowledge or not. First, through senses, sensory perceptions. Second, conclusions arrived at through that cognition, through that senses. When you perceive through senses, you analyze the data inside you and come to the conclusion. That is what we call cognition. Receiving the information, processing it, coming to conclusion, taking a decision. That cognition can be the scale whether what you have is the right knowledge or the wrong knowledge. That cognition can also be the scale for pramana, proof of right knowledge. For example, if you are seeing me here, seeing is one proof, and receiving this information, internally coming to the conclusion, yes, I know him, I have heard him, I have experienced him. That is also source of right knowledge. The third important thing, very powerful thing, I think this is an important point. He says, Patanjali says, the words of an enlightened master is the third source of correct knowledge. Means all the words of an enlightened master, whether you perceive it with your senses or not, whether you cognize it through your mind or not, it's the right knowledge. I can say the whole tradition of Guru Sishya Parampara, the master-disciple relationship, is built on this one sutra. It says, the words of an enlightened master is the way to gain correct knowledge. The words which comes out of him is a straight, complete, correct knowledge. The modern day men, they can understand the perception through senses is right knowledge. They can understand the conclusion arrived at through the cognition is right knowledge, but they can't understand the words of an enlightened master is a source of right knowledge. They always demand proof. He may say, but we need proof. But please understand, all the traditions which accepted words of an enlightened master is a source of the right knowledge lived ecstatically, radiated enlightenment. So here Patanjali says, the words of an enlightened master is a way to gain correct knowledge. Means he is saying relax. Till you experience, respect his words, go with it. It will become your experience. The only difference between atheists and theists are this word. Perception through senses, conclusion arrived at through the cognition. These two both agree. Atheists and theists. But the third statement, third source, the words of an enlightened master is accepted only by the people who are interested in experience, in the truth. If your heart believes this third statement, words of an enlightened master is the way for right knowledge, there is a possibility for you to be guided. There is a possibility for you to reach the truth. There is a possibility for you to experience the higher consciousness. But without that, if you believe only these two, the perception through senses and conclusion arrived at through the cognition, then you are in dilemma. Dilemma is the ultimate punishment given to people. Now, whenever people are not interested in listening to me, all I do is just give them freedom. That's the ultimate punishment. They will die just by dilemma. What to do, what to do, what to do. See, when you have freedom without maturity, without enlightenment, that is the ultimate suffering. Because you do not know what to do. You will be oscillating. Either you will be postponing decision making, or any decision you make, you will be repenting. You know only two spaces, postponing or repenting. You will continue to postpone because of fear of taking decision. Or if you have taken decision, you will continue to repent that you have taken wrong decision. Any decision it may be. This side or that side, you will be repenting. So without enlightenment, freedom is the ultimate punishment. Very rarely, very few intelligent people have the respect for this third statement. The words of an enlightened master are the three ways to gain correct knowledge. Understand. Remember this one truth. The words of an enlightened master is the way to gain the right knowledge. This one sutra is enough. You will have straight right knowledge about the purpose of your life, about everything. What to do, what needs to be done, what is the ultimate. Everything can be gained just with this one truth. The words of an enlightened master. Perception through senses, conclusion arrived at through the cognition, and the words of an enlightened master are the three ways to the right knowledge. Understand this one truth. Respect for enlightened master's words will straightaway lead you to enlightenment. Because constantly he is reminding you, you are enlightened. I bless you all to achieve and radiate the enlightenment. We'll enter into the technique to use your sleep as meditation, to use your sleep as samadhi, to transform your sleep into samadhi. Please understand, a simple technique, very powerful technique. Let me describe the technique. The night time before going to sleep, sit on your bed, switch off the light, be in a relaxed way, sit in a relaxed way. You should chant, create H-O-O sound, whoo, not loudly, internally. Visualize that sound is getting ringing, filling your whole being, and create internally. Maybe little sound will come out. You can't keep completely silent when you chant, but it should fill you. I am not saying chant as loudly as possible. I am saying chant as intensely as possible. The whole body should be filled with that sound, with that one chanting. I am not saying loudly, I am saying intensely. Do this just for 8 to 10 minutes, very intensely. And relax. You will see, you will be alive, aware, even during your sleep. When you are out of sleep, you will be fresh. You will be jumping out of your bed. Your walk from your bed to the bathroom will be a dance. It will not be just walk. It will be ecstatic dance. You will be fresh. It's a very powerful technique to move from sleep to samadhi, sleep to superconscious state. It's from Tantra tradition, means the 5,000-year-old spiritual secrets, spiritual techniques, very powerful technique.